When it comes to the current American approval rating of the United States Congress, the numbers are not looking good. Currently, they're at 29% approval rating overall from the American people. They are failing to represent the American people and the American will. So you think, with that in mind, they would be hard at work to restore their reputation. They'd be burning the midnight oil, passing all kinds of bills, codifying everything from President Trump's executive orders, implementing DOGE cuts, etc., etc. You think that's what they'd be doing, right? But you would be wrong to think that. When you actually see here in a minute what they're actually focused on, you're going to be shocked. And I'm going to show you right now what that is on American Advocates. So rather than being focused on new bills and new laws that will improve the quality of life of Americans and protect us, it turns out Representative from Colorado, Brittany Pettersen, who just gave birth to a newborn baby, is leading the charge from within Congress about voting from proxy. And if you don't know what that means, first of all, it's unconstitutional. But what that means is she's leading the charge to push for the right to be able to vote from her pajamas on her couch because she's claiming she can't do her job due to her child. Take a look at this. We're going to react to this one together.
And I can tell you, after being a mom here and being only the 13th member to have ever given birth while serving in Congress, voting member, I can tell you we have a long ways to go to make this place accessible for young families like mine.
See, there you go. There's the focus of Congress right now. America's in the toilet. Things need to change drastically. President Donald Trump is hard at work at trying to make that happen, right? And Congress is supposed to be, well, if Republicans control it, which they do, they're supposed to be hard at work at solidifying President Donald Trump's directives, executive orders, everything like that. And this is their job. They're politicians. But here, what we have is a politician who looks around in the chambers of Congress and goes, "Oh my God, this place is so inaccessible to new mothers. I need to bring this to Congress's attention immediately." This is their focus right now.
When I was pregnant, I couldn't fly towards the end of my due date because it was unsafe for Sam, and you're unable to board a plane, and I was unable to actually have my vote represented here and my constituents represented.
Can you imagine voting for your local politician or your state politician only to find out that because they got pregnant, they couldn't actually represent the will of your state? They couldn't actually represent you in Congress, and so your voice basically wasn't heard because your representative couldn't represent your vote to Congress. They had to stay home instead. Sounds like you can't do your job.
After giving birth, I was faced with an impossible decision. Sam was 4 weeks old, and for all of the parents here, we know that when we have newborns, it's when they're the most vulnerable in their life. It's when they need 24/7 care, when taking them even to a grocery store is scary because you're worried about exposure to germs and them getting sick.
So taking them to a grocery store is scary, but bringing them in the chambers of Congress before dozens of filthy politicians so you can make your statement better, that's not scary? Interesting. 240 days a year. That's the average amount of days that the average working American works per year, given holidays off, vacation time, etc. Now guess how much Congress works per year. On average, they work 100 to 133 days a year. And let's not even talk about average median income, right? Americans are working 240 days a year for, depending on where you live, roughly around $45,000 to $48,000 a year, right? Well, Congress makes on average $174,000 a year per person in Congress. That's their average pay. So they work half the time and they get 4 times the pay. On top of that, they have a mandatory summer vacation as if they're school children. And you know what? The thing is, they have some long work weeks when they do work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours sometimes. But their job is not hard. This is not physical manual labor. They are sitting down and voting. They are standing up and talking, and they're debating amongst each other. Mentally, it might be a little bit stressful at times, but physically, It doesn't get any easier. They're in an air-conditioned building getting paid a six-figure salary and working half the time as the average American. And yet you have representatives like Brittany here who are saying, oh my God, I got pregnant, I can't do my job anymore. Do you know who doesn't have this problem in Congress? Men. I'm just going to say it the way it is. And despite how much the Democrats want you to think that men could potentially have this problem, that they'd have to send a text from the hospital one day to the other members of Congress, oh my God, I got pregnant, I gave birth, and then they use the pregnant Bill Gates emoji. That doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen for a reason. And on top of that, when congressmen have their wives at home give birth, I'm pretty sure they still show up to work as well. But instead of taking all these points into consideration and instead of looking through it logically, Brittany Pettersen was able to convince enough Republicans, 9 total I believe, that this inability to vote by proxy was inconvenient enough to new mothers and it should be re-examined. And as a result, Congress is now shut down for the rest of the week. As if they don't have enough time off. Now they're just done for the rest of the week. Oh, well, we're at a standstill now. It looks like things are about to change here. We need to shut down for a whole week now. That's it. They're done. They're not going to work till next Monday. So rather than codifying President Donald Trump's executive orders, which is their job to do, because those orders are attempting to make America great again, rather than implementing DOGE's cuts that will reduce waste, fraud, and corruption out of our very own government, rather than trying to rein in the extremely corrupt district court judges that keep trying to stand in the way of President Donald Trump as he deports dangerous MS-13 gangs, they're just taking the rest of the week off. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene honestly said it best in this video.
I'm very much against the bill that she's trying to force to the floor and the way she's going about it, and I think it's wrong. And it's really going to open up the door to proxy voting, which is already unconstitutional, and we shouldn't be doing it. So this is an important job. In the same way that soldiers go off and they're deployed overseas, they come home and actually meet their babies for the first time, and their babies are several months old. Members of Congress don't have to be here. They don't have to be. There's lots of seasons of life. I'm a mother. I've raised 3 children. And when my children were babies and were young, I prioritized them in that season of life. Now I serve in Congress because I'm not raising children. And I think that's a really important point to make. And if any member of Congress, for any reason whatsoever, finds them in a situation where they're not able to do the job here, the important job we're elected to do, they should step down, because someone else can serve in their place.
Bottom line here is, when it comes to Congress, these are the spoiled American brats in the political world. And I think going forward, there needs to be some radical change to how Congress performs and operates. I don't remember the last time I've even seen a Congress approval rating over 50%. And that shouldn't be. Because if they're not at least at 50%, then they're not even satisfying half of America. Something needs to change. There should be some sort of implementation where Congress loses privileges or has to work longer, God forbid, when their approval rating is in the toilet like it is. Because the very fact of the matter is this, their approval rating's at 29%, and they're going to be coming up on a summer vacation soon. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. But what are your thoughts on all of this? Leave a comment down below.